For as long as we've been able to look up into the night sky and marvel at the expanse of stars above, humans have questioned our place in the universe. We go through our lives wondering, side by side with the Pokemon that may have the answers to some of these questions. This time, our journey takes place in the ancient land of Sinnoh, a rugged land split down the middle by massive mountains with beautiful lakes dotting the landscape. Sinnoh is a land of legends, with the mythology of its creation having been passed down from generation to generation, until we come to now, where along the way to the top of the Pokemon League ranks, we will also have to stop the greatest threat this land has ever faced, all while exploring the mysteries of time, space, and the origins of the universe itself. Welcome to the world of Pokemon, and welcome to GameSprained. We've come a long way since the start of this journey, covering the Kanto, Johto, and Hoenn regions, which have managed to take us to 3 out of the 4 major islands that comprise Japan. The last of these islands, Hokkaido, is what we know as Sinnoh in the Pokemon world. Hokkaido, with its frigid climate and vast size, is one of the most sparsely populated regions of Japan. But the hardy people who call this island home are rewarded not only with the beautiful nature, but the many delicious foods and drinks for which this region is famous. This is truly a wonderful setting for our new adventure, and it all starts out in the quiet hamlet of Twinleaf Town. This small town is home to the player, Lucas or Don, and the hero's friendly rival, Barry. Just outside of Twinleaf sits the vast Lake Verity. This starting point reflects Hokkaido's Noboribetsu City, a small city famous for its onsens. It sits just southeast of the beautiful Lake Toya, the northernmost lake in Japan that doesn't ice over completely, making it a fitting bastion of beauty before the harsh climate truly becomes overwhelming. The island in Lake Verity is home to the legendary Pokemon Mesprit, one of the 3 lake guardians of Sinnoh. Mesprit is known as the Pokemon of Emotion, and represents a piece of the Japanese imperial regalia, in this case the jewel known as the Magatama. After meeting Professor Rowan on Route 201 and choosing between Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup, we once again see some examples of the myths and legends that Sinnoh embodies. Turtwig evolves into Torterra, an interpretation of the various myths of the world turtle, while Chimchar becomes Infernape, a representation of Sun Wukong from the ancient Chinese story Journey to the West, and Piplup becomes Empoleon, who with its trident and powers over water, is an obvious allusion to the Greek god of the oceans, Poseidon. With our first Pokemon in tow, our first stop is Sand Gym Town, where we can receive the Pokédex we need to really get started on our quest. The real-life Sand Gym Town turns out to be the port city of Tomokomai, the 5th largest city in Hokkaido. While the visitor here has plenty to see in Tomokomai's abundant nature, there's not much left for us to do in Sand Gym but continue on with our quest. Our first stop out of Sand Gym is Jubilife City to the north. Jubilife is the largest city in Sinnoh, and it's where we first meet Detective Looker, who we will see in various points of our journey, and possibly even beyond this game. As you may have already guessed, Jubilife is based on Sapporo City, the capital of Hokkaido and the 4th largest city in all of Japan. Famous for beer, ramen, and festivals of ice and snow, Sapporo is the perfect analog for the bustling Jubilife City. As tempting as it may be to stop in one of those hundreds of ramen shops for a steaming bowl of noodles, we'd better keep moving and get to the mining city of Orberg. Its parallel, Yubari City, was founded as a coal mining town as well, though after the mines closed in the 1980s, the city fell on hard times. Orberg can best be looked at as Yubari City in its glory days, and in its still thriving mine, we first come face to face with Rourke. After besting him in his own gym and taking our first step on the way to becoming champion, we can head back to Jubilife City to our next destination, Floaroma Town. Once a barren wasteland, Floaroma was transformed into the beautiful field we see when we arrive by Shaman, the mythical Pokemon. It is here where we also first encounter the terrible Team Galactic, defeating Commander Mars within the nearby Valley Windworks. While Floaroma's equivalent, Iwamizama City, doesn't have massive windmills from which it draws its power, it does make a nice transportation hub for those heading further north into Hokkaido from Sapporo. This is precisely what we must do now, and after passing through Eterna Forest, we arrive at the second gym town, Eterna City. Eterna City is a large and bustling place, and so it's only appropriate that its counterpart, Asahikawa City, is the 2nd largest city in Hokkaido. During its long winters, Asahikawaites love to go to their favorite ramen shops to fill them up, and it is these many noodle shops for which the city is very well known. While we don't have any ramen shops in Eterna to stop by, we do have plenty of things to do. After beating Gardenia and stopping Team Galactic in their building here, we must head back down south to Orberg to head into Mount Coronet, the name given to the imposing mountain range which splits Sinnoh in 2. While there are at least 9 mountain ranges in Hokkaido, it is clear that the main mountain of Mount Coronet is clearly Mount Asahi, which is the tallest point on the entire island. After we have finished passing under the mountain, we arrive outside Hearthome City. Hearthome City is home to Fantina, the 3rd gym leader, and the Sinnoh Contest Hall, where Pokemon fashion shows are held. While it isn't really known for its fashion shows, the city's equivalent of Obihiro City does host a unique kind of horse racing, wherein horses pull heavy sleds for 200 meters, all while going up and down slopes in a test of speed and endurance. While not as flashy as a Pokemon contest, it's still quite a sight to see. After wowing the world with my amazing Bidoof and beating Fantina for the 3rd gym badge, it's time to head north to make a brief stop in Solaceon Town, a small little resting place with some ruins nearby, where we uncover some secrets with the help of some unknown. Solaceon's real-world analog, Ashoro Town, is not known for its ruins, but rather the amazing Akan National Park, whose lakes and waterways form the fascinating Marimo, or ball seaweed, which if you've had as much seaweed snacks as I have, you probably think looks absolutely delicious. After this brief stop in Solaceon, we continue north to Veilstone City, a large, bustling metropolis complete with this generation's department store, as well as its 4th gym. While Veilstone is one of the most important cities in Sinnoh, its equivalent, Abashiri City, is simply a small port town, which is also one of the coldest places in Japan. The climate here is very harsh, so much so that every year the ports have to close due to the harbor completely freezing over. Team Galactic's headquarters is also here in Veilstone, but since we can't enter it from now, after getting the 4th gym badge from Maylene, we can head out. Our next route takes us past another one of Sinnoh's mysterious lakes, Lake Valor. This lake, much like Lake Verity, has a near-identical analog, the infamous Lake Kusharo, a place which is known as Japan's Loch Ness, due to Kushi, a mysterious lake monster which has been rumored about since the 1970s. Lake Valor is also home to Azelf, the legendary Pokemon of willpower. With its great strength, Azelf represents the Kusanagi no Tsurugi, the sword of the Imperial Regalia, which is said to have been originally found in the body of Orochi, the 8-headed and 8-tailed dragon of Japanese legend. Going further south from Lake Valor, we arrive in Pastoria City. Pastoria contains the 5th Sinnoh Gym, as well as this generation's version of the Safari Zone, the Great Marsh. It is here on our map where we find Kushiro City, which is also well known for its great marshlands to the north. Immediately after beating Crasher Wake and obtaining his badge, we have to stop more Team Galactic plans before heading for Celestic Town, a small but spiritual town whose residents keep the traditions and myths of Sinnoh alive. Celestic is known as Kitami City, a small city that shares its name with the nearby mountains, but it's mostly known for its production of mint, which at one point was so vast that it produced 70% of the world's supply. It's here in Celestic where we first face off against Cyrus, the leader of Team Galactic, and gain a better understanding of the threat they pose. After facing off against him, it's time to head west to get to Canalave City, a beautiful city with a canal running through the middle of it, and many ships in the harbor. Here we can learn more about the creation of Sinnoh, as well as challenge the 6th gym leader Byron, who's also the father of Rourke. Canalave City can be found on the map as Otaru City, which, like its Sinnoh counterpart, sports a beautiful Victorian-style canal which leads to the Otaru City port, where boats here, and their equivalents in Canalave, can take us to some extra destinations. One necessary trip is to Iron Island, where, if you're lucky, you can catch a certain rare Pokemon. This island, though, strangely, is one of the few places in Sinnoh that simply does not have a proper real-world counterpart. However, the 2 optional islands of New Moon and Full Moon Island, where we can catch Cresselia and Darkrai, are represented, being not Teuri and Yagashiri Islands, as I've seen many maps incorrectly label them, but the further northern islands of Rishiri and Reibun, 2 places which retain the names granted to them by the indigenous Ainu people who first settled Hokkaido. After obtaining that 6th gym badge and finishing in Canalave, we find ourselves needing to head to the last of the 3 legendary lakes, due to Team Galactic beginning to abduct the legendary lake Pokemon for their schemes. This takes us back under Mount Coronet once more, and north to the frozen Snow Point City and Lake Acuity. The home of Uxie, the Pokemon of knowledge, represents the Imperial Regalia Mirror. The nearby Snow Point City is based on the extremely tiny Hamatonbetsu town, a small town of merely 4,000 residents, which sits just outside of Lake Kucharo, a beautiful lake which is known for the thousands of swans which migrate here every year. After obtaining our 7th gym badge from Candace in Snow Point City and encountering Team Galactic at the lake, we must chase the leader Cyrus from his headquarters in Veilstone to the peak of Mount Coronet, where events draw us into the distortion world, which naturally has no parallel. Or does it? After defeating Cyrus and calming Giratina here, we find ourselves back in Sinnoh at the Sindoff Spring, a secluded lake surrounded on all sides by a tall embankment. This mysterious lake mirrors Lake Mashu, a beautiful place that is said to have the clearest water in the world, whose visibility has been measured at 41 meters deep, which equals over 134 feet that you can see straight down into the water. With clarity like this, Lake Mashu really is like looking into another world. With Team Galactic finally shut down, we can head away from the lake to the last gym standing between us and the Pokemon League. And so we must head to the farthest reaches east, arriving at Sunny Shore City. The last gym leader, Volkner, must first be found at the Sunny Shore Lighthouse before we can challenge him. Both Sunny Shore and this lighthouse do have equivalents in Hokkaido, with Sunny Shore being Nemuro City, a place famous for its fresh, delicious sushi, and the lighthouse corresponds to the Nosapu Misaki Lighthouse, which also happens to be the easternmost point in all of Japan. After besting Volkner and his gem, we finally have all the badges we need to head for the Elite Four, although this next step in our journey takes us, for the first time in the series, outside of the land of Japan. The island where Victory Road and the Pokemon League sit in Sinnoh is also known as Kunashir Island, a small island which has a long history of conflict throughout Japanese history, but currently is managed by Russia, despite Japan's claim to it. This island's tumultuous history makes a fitting backdrop as we encounter some of the toughest trainers and Pokemon that Sinnoh has to offer, and after besting this challenge we arrive at last at the gates of the Pokemon League. In harsh battle after battle, ending with a climactic showdown with the Sinnoh champion Cynthia, we have at last claimed victory over the strongest of all in this ancient land of Sinnoh. However, this time there is one more area to cover before we can really consider ourselves finished. After becoming champion, we may now visit the battle area, a sparse island to the north where our skills are stretched to their limits. But this island itself is much more significant than you might have first thought. The battle area represents Sakhalin Island, an area that at different points in time has been owned by China, Japan, and Russia. Since being handed over at the end of World War II, it has been owned by Russia, but it's remained a point of tension between the three governments in the decades since. It's truly fitting that an island that has been the source of so much conflict is, in the world of Pokemon, the site of friendly battles and sporting competition. In this game, more than any that have come so far, we've learned history, explored culture, and experienced the kind of adventures that legends are made of. But perhaps there's more than just stories that we can learn from the locations of Sinnoh and their real-world counterparts. From an entire world where man and nature are allowed to coexist peacefully, to Orberg, the idealized representation of a withered mining town, and finally, to the battle area, where instead of political tension and violence, we have friendly Pokemon matches. These clues begin to show that while Sinnoh and other regions are based on the world we live in, we're not actually seeing the world as it is, but the world as it could be. In this way, the world of Pokemon is, in so many ways, truly magical. At this point, we've uncovered every major region in the country of Japan, and our journey next time will take us all the way to the other side of the world, to a place much more familiar to many of my viewers. I hope you can join me then as we light up the Unova region. Hey everybody, thanks again for watching the video. I know these videos take a while to come out, but I really appreciate all your patience. I can't thank you enough for all your support, and if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like it and give it a share. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe as well. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.